This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. There are many films that show the relationship between a patient and their therapist, such as Good Will Hunting, Analyze This, and even The Sopranos. They can take comical or dramatic turns in their approach to reach positive mental health wellness. While we all escape into these worlds of fiction, we all must come back to reality where issues are real. Sometimes we all need a little help trying to find our inner peace, and that is where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/screenaddicts. That's betterhelp.com/screenaddicts.
Do you need to trim up the home box office before taking your lady or gent to the motion picture show? Then I suggest you go to manscaped.com and purchase the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer helps reduce nicks. It reduces the risk of ingrown hairs, and it reduces the risk of grooming accidents. If you go to manscaped.com, be sure to enter in the promo code SCREENADDICTS for an additional 20% off your order and free shipping. Again, that is promo code SCREENADDICTS. SCREENADDICTS, and we'll see you at the movies.
Recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Fire up the projectors, turn on your TVs, and adjust your antennas. It's time for the Screen Addicts podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Screen Addicts podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Cinema, Steven Sosa, PhD.
And I am your other co-host, Chris. The doctor is in Vegas.
Hello, doctor. How are you doing tonight?
I am wonderful, Steven. How are you?
Fantastic. We are obviously not real doctors. We play some on podcasts, though. This is exciting.
That's right.
So, I guess it's no surprise that we will be having a doctor-themed episode, but not necessarily a doctor-specific. What we will be talking about tonight are movies and TV shows set within hospitals. And this is because of a quick little story I'm going to give you here. I will be heading out to the University of Florida's Shands Medical Facility tomorrow because they are going to take a look at my really warped, bulbous, and Quasimodo-looking eye. So it's something that I've been dealing with for the better part of a few years. There's some intense swelling going on in the upper eyelid of the right side of my optical perspective, and nobody can figure it out, man. It's a really weird situation going on here. I've had all kinds of professionals here in town in Panama City looking at it. I've had optometrists, ophthalmologists, what's a skin doctor, dermatologist. Mm-hmm. I've even had ENTs looking at it, and he had surgery on the eye and even left me a gnarly scar over the top side of it. And when he opened it up, he said that there was tissue growth in there, and I said, okay. And he said, well, I tried to get as much of it as I could, but I couldn't get all of it. And I said, well, if you didn't get all of it, it's probably going to grow back, man. Thanks for trying to get another surgery out of me. So inevitably it did. But the really weird thing about it was that about a year and a half ago, it reduced down to pretty much normal. And I didn't do anything different. I lost some weight, but I don't know if that has any kind of correlation to it. So it's just been a weird, bizarre trip that I've been going on. I'm even at an allergist right now because they said it was allergy related. I've been taking allergy shots for the best part of 3 months, and well, still dealing with it, man. And it's also preventing us from doing video. And I know people need to see that beautiful beard of yours, and I'm glad your mustache finally grew back out. So that's great.
It did.
Even though I thought you were rocking that Abe Lincoln style pretty well.
I don't know, man. I told you, I looked like I'm Amish, and I wasn't digging it. But whatever.
And so we are going on to a specialist, and they are some of the best in the state of Florida, and they are also considered some of the best, in the country. So if they can't find anything out, man, I'm just going to wear a patch like Snake Plissken Bliskin and just call it a friggin' day, man. It's just so crazy. It was funny because Madison was saying, what if you have to have surgery on your eye? What are you going to do for the wedding? I'm like, well, I will be wearing sunglasses because there's no way I want to ruin any of your pictures.
Your 3D glasses to the wedding.
That's perfect. It's like I'm doing a review of wedding movies.
That should probably
That's a great topic. Yeah.
Soon.
That's definitely a great topic. I can't believe we never thought of that one, but much similar to this situation that we're dealing with, that's how we pretty much choose our topics. It's always something that's related to us personally, or it's something that we like. And in this case, clearly it's something personal, as I'm going to be going to a hospital, and I thought, that actually sounds like a great idea for an episode of the show. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be listing our top 3 favorites, but we're going to be doing it with a nice little twist that, Chris, you should explain since it was your brilliant idea.
Well, tonight, usually we both go in on movies and talk about medical field, or tonight we'll be talking medical field, the movies, but there's such really, really good medical TV shows. And to me, that's really where the medical field pops off a lot, is in TV shows. So what we're going to be doing tonight is Steven is going to be taking his top 3 movies, and I'm going to be taking top 3 TV shows. So TV Villegas is going to be in full effect on the main topic tonight.
Cinema Steve talking movies, TV Villegas talking TV. This is perfect. And this is great because we haven't had too many topics where we were able to dabble into both fields. You know, we usually have movies that we pick that pertain to either movies or I'm sorry, we have picks that either pertain to movies or picks that pertain to television shows. But man, it's been a while since we've done a ranking of TV shows. I feel
it has been.
I feel like we've been holding you back in that regard, Chris.
We've been neglecting the TV, man. And as true screen addicts, yes, we do love the cinema and we do love the theaters, but we also love staying at home and being couch potatoes.
You know, screens are television screens as well. And Chris, I want to apologize for being the ham that I am and trying to stick with the realm of cinema because, man, I watch TV too. I mean, even in the last few minisodes that we've done, I have been watching a lot of TV because it's funny now that TV it's so prominent in quality and critical respect that you have all these big-time cinematic actors and actresses doing TV shows. So it's in the same realm. But I guess to start us off with this list of your top 3 favorite medical themed TV shows, go ahead. Number 3.
All right, my number 3, and I'm going to start off kind of dark and scary almost. My number 3 pick is going to be Nip Tuck.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Talk about a TV show that just went into the dark side of like plastic surgery and being very, very into yourself, and these doctors that they get rich off of this and they're okay with it. And it is so much drama in this movie. And you know what? I'll tell you this, what really turned me on to this show at first, the main character, the main guy in the show, he was a main villain-ish person in Charmed. And man, I freaking loved Charmed. I loved him in that show. So we went ahead and I was like, man, if I liked him in there, I think I'm going to like him in Nip Tuck. And Nip Tuck was insane. It was an FX show. I think it only ran for a couple of years because there was a lot of controversy in it when it first started, man. It was kind of risque for its time and the topics it was talking about and stuff like that. So if you've never seen it, man, Nip Tuck is great. Give it a watch.
Risque is kind of an understatement. That show was nasty, and now I know why it was your number 3 pick. Let's not lie to our listeners here. What was it? Julian McMahon played that doctor that you're talking about, and he actually played Dr. Doom in the first Fantastic Four movies, and personally, I didn't really think he was all that bad. I mean, granted, I think those movies in general aren't that bad, but you don't really see him doing anything anymore. At least Dylan Walsh, the other doctor, he plays General Sam Lane in Superman and Lois, which is kind of funny considering who he was in Nip Tuck.
He was a doctor in Melrose Place too, wasn't he?
I think so. That probably makes sense to me. I can't really yeah, I think you're right. I think he was. Man, that's pretty crazy. So, I mean, if maybe he should have been Dr. Doom now that I think about it. He can still be. Yeah, that's a solid pick.
Multiverse.
That's definitely one of those early FX series that were really solidifying that channel as something a little bit more highbrow. Like, it was pushing the boundaries of content.
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries of what you can say, what you can do, and what you can show on a network television broadcast. And yeah, it really set the ground for shows like Sons of Anarchy that just came in and obliterated the rules for content policies and stuff. I mean, yeah, I remember Nip Tuck thinking, damn, is this on HBO? It should be on HBO, but it's not. So, man, solid number 3 TV series.
Yes, sir. What is your number 3 movie, my friend?
My number 3 movie, and it is one that, I was running into these issues where, should I make it set entirely in a hospital or what? I don't know, maybe scenes in a hospital, but number 3 is the Denzel Washington film John Q. John Q is a movie where Denzel Washington plays a man who is trying to obtain a very important heart, like literal heart surgery for his son, who I guess he doesn't have a donor or something, but, he decides to hold hostage a hospital, forcing them, his only demand is forcing the doctors and surgeons to have open heart surgery on his son. And, when I think about it, this is an absolutely ludicrous idea. No way would it ever happen in a million years. But it's Denzel Washington. You support this guy in anything that he does, and you just hear his plight. You just want him to succeed. And really, when you think about it, when you're kids, if you have children, and or just in any family member of high importance to you, there's really nothing that you wouldn't want to do to help save their life. So in that regard, it doesn't seem so far-fetched of an idea. I guess that's why John Q is good. And James Woods, isn't it? He's such a smirky jerk, and he's always good, and he was it's such a goofy movie, but I really enjoyed it, and John Q takes number 3.
I love that movie. It's good. Like you said, it would never happen in a million years, but that's okay because it's a movie, and that's what we watch movies for.
I guess we should say, it's a 15, 16-year-old movie at this point. It may be pushing 20 years at this point, but I guess it's safe to say, spoilers, he successfully gets the doctors on premises to have open heart surgery on his son, and then he goes to jail. So they're like, okay, we will have a bit of realism here by having him go to jail. And I'm thinking, oh, that's your stance on this? Like, letting him go to jail? You're trying to make this realistic? I did think, I'm like, oh, they really are cutting this kid open basically in the lobby of this hospital. Okay. So it worked. His plan worked. He went to jail. But
his son was saved. It's fine.
It was. You want me to do my number 2 movie and then we can round back just like normal? And
yep, that sounds good.
Let's do it. All right. My number 2 movie is a movie that I guess it's set both at a medical school and hospital, so it kind of dabbles in both. And this is Robin Williams' Patch Adams. Patch Adams is a true story, quote-unquote true story, based on a true story. I mean, you're getting what you're getting. Robin Williams playing a med student who turns into a brilliant doctor who deals with patients with laughter, trying to build up their immunity, building up their willpower to live by the sheer force of humor. Definitely that's something that Robin Williams could pull off. I mean, he can pull off that role so perfectly because who's not laughing at Robin Williams? If you've never seen Patch Adams, I highly suggest you watch it. It's a really good story. Early Philip Seymour Hoffman performance as his college roommate, and he's such a jerk. There's a scene towards the end of the movie. It takes this crazy, dark and dramatic twist and completely unsits the entire movie. So you're in this kind of lighthearted movie filled with some comical jokes, one-liners here and there, and then it takes this really dark and depressing turn, and I thought, damn, that's like, I get your hero has to learn some things and whatever this is on his journey, but damn, that was pretty harsh. Like, basically, spoilers, the love of his life is not just killed in a car wreck, she's like brutally murdered by somebody. And I was like, damn, that's like way darker than I thought it was going to be, but I guess that's the true story aspect of it, but I don't remember and I don't really know. And for someone, it was directed by Tom Shadak, who was the director of Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. Like, this is a full-on comedy director. So you're thinking, okay, he's probably like making this movie thinking, I'm going to make this comedy, this lighthearted comedy, but I'm going to really lay the hammer down with this dramatic force turn of events. And I don't know if he did or not because it really put people out of the movie. But aside from that, Patch comes back and he wants to become the doctor that he's always set out to be, but set mostly on the hospital and school where he works. But yes, Patch Adams is my number 2.
Great pick, man. You can't ever go wrong with a Robin Williams flick.
No.
And it's hard to even find a movie that it's not good with Robin Williams, you know? It's so good. If you've never seen Patch Adams, like Steven said, you need to go give it a watch. All right, I guess we're going to my number 2. My
Oh, yeah.
number 2 TV show. I'm going to go with TV show comedy. It's super funny. It ran for 9 seasons. It ran from 2001 to 2010. And I'm talking about the medical dramedy called Scrubs. This is where a bunch of people got introduced to Zach Braff, Donald Faison, I think that's how you say his name, Sarah Chalk. But man, with the chemistry between Zach Braff and Donald, I mean, you still get commercials with these guys today, because there was such a good following. Everybody loved this show. It was funny where it needed to be funny. There was drama where it needed to be drama. And, I'll tell you, it's more funny than anything. And to run for 9 seasons, there's a show has to have something, and this show had it all. It was great, and I think they ended it where they needed to end it, not dragging it on more than some shows tend to drag on just because there's a big following. You ended it great, you ended it good, and you ended it where it needed to be ended. That is my number 2 pick, Scrubs.
Scrubs is a great example of something similar to Patch Adams, where it's funny, and then it just hits you with something super dramatic, which makes the dramatic moments even more impactful. And
yeah,
that show did it better than most. And I love Scrubs, man. And I'm sorry, but I remember Donald Faison as Murray from Clueless prior to this, but that's just me and some of our fan base that listens. It's like you said, that chemistry between Faison and Braff is so good that, like you mentioned, they still make those commercials today. Like, clearly they're best friends. They even have a podcast together. I'm not sure if it's a Scrubs watch-along podcast. I'm pretty sure that it is.
Yeah.
But and of course they're doing it together because they're basically best friends on the show in real life. And that would be like me and you doing a show together, Chris. The chemistry would be real.
It would.
Chemistry.
100%.
Scrubs is such a solid pick. If I was doing TV shows too, that definitely would have fell in my top 3. It's so good. They did a really weird thing in that final season where they changed it from NBC to ABC and brought in a new cast and still had Zach Braff and Faison there, but it was, I don't know, it looked different, it felt different. That was a mess.
Weird. Yeah,
but
that's why I'm glad they ended it right there.
You're right.
They knew it was time to we tried to change it up and keep it going, but it wasn't working.
I am going to say though that Bill Lawrence, the showrunner of Scrubs, you know what he does now? Ted Lasso show you should be watching, Chris.
I should.
He also did Cougar Town.
Monica Geller, right?
Yeah, that show was really funny. And I think it got saddled with a bad title because there wasn't really anything Cougar Town about the show post the first 2 or 3 episodes. It became about the cul-de-sac crew and all of her friends and stuff. And it was basically like a new Friends. But anyway, Scrubs, that's a great one. Great one.
Good. So, you want to do some honorable mentions before we go on to number 1?
Yeah, let's do it. Name some. I can name some honorable mentions of TV too.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I don't know. I will dabble into the world of TV.
Dabble. That's right. This is my world, son.
Get back to your movie screen, nerd.
So a couple honorable mentions for TV shows. One that I just watched not too long ago with Tasha is on Netflix. It's called New Amsterdam. It's pretty dang good. It's got a Grey's feel, but not as much drama, which is okay. The Good Doctor. The Good Doctor's really good. I've recently started watching that one
with Norman Bates, right?
Yep. That's Norman Bates. Then you have ER, the one that started it all.
Classic. That'd be Jeremy's number 1.
Oh, absolutely. I say started it all, but there was one before that, which is another honorable mention, which is Doogie Howser.
Yeah. Doogie. In PH.
In PH at his best. And then my last one, I think I am going to go with Dr. Death, man. Another dark-ish series, kind of like Nip Tuck.
It was pretty dark.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
And the cool thing about this show is that it got made because the podcast was so damn good and popular. Yeah. And it's all based off of real-life events that this doctor he just mutilated the shit out of his friends. It's not even just regular people. It was his friends that he's like, oh my God. If you've never listened to the podcast Dr. Death, go listen to that and then go watch the show because, oh my gosh, it is insane. It's so good. It's crazy. But Dr. Death, I forget where you could watch that one at.
Dr. Death is actually on Peacock. That was a Peacock original, yeah. And, the funny thing about Dr. Death that really put, especially people our age and the fan base of Dawson's Creek on edge was the fact that Joshua Jackson was playing him. Like, Pacey Witter is this insane doctor? I don't like this. Yeah. It's like him in the new Fatal Attraction show. I'm like, or The Affair. Like, all these shows now that Joshua Jackson is doing where he's playing these, kind of slimy characters and horrible villains. And I was like, I don't like this. Pacey Witter, that's true love, man. That's Joey Potter's man. Joey Potter wouldn't like this guy.
Oh, but he went, total 360 from his Pacey character.
Just a little bit. But Dr. Death was really good. I think it was only 8 episodes. It was a really quick watch. And I thought they were going to be doing a mini series, like another Dr. Death, but just a different doctor. Because that's the impression that I had of the podcast, is that it takes one doctor through a span of like how many ever episodes it was, and then they go into, I guess, what you would call another season with a new doctor, and it has a new set of episodes. That was a good show, man. It was really good.
I loved it. But that'll round up my honorable mention. Steven, what do you got on the movie side?
Well, before we go into the movies, there were a couple of other medical shows like House. That was really popular.
Oh, House, it was.
And Hugh Laurie as House. I mean, he was nominated for so many Emmys for his performance in that. And personally, I never watched it, even though I was always interested in seeing it. I see a lot of clips from it, and I thought, man, this is really good. And I feel like I would have enjoyed it, but I never watched it. And I think something even prior to Doogie Howser, I mean, you got to talk about something like MASH. Like MASH is something that, and this kind of lends its way into honorable mentions of movies too, because MASH, it started out as a film starring Donald Sutherland. Then it became the television series, which is more beloved in my opinion. It's at least more fondly remembered. Hawkeye, you had all those guys. Alan Alda.
Hot Lips Houlihan.
Hot Lips, yeah, exactly, man. I wonder how many young listeners are going to be like, what the hell is MASH? Is it that like game you draw a picture and pick your life or something?
Dude, that's still old. What are you talking?
Yeah, I guess even that doesn't hold up as a current event. But man, it's so funny because I saw a meme about MASH and people were like, anytime you heard this theme song and it has that opening logo with the helicopter, because it was set during the Korean War, right? Yeah, Korean War. And people were like, oh, this is the universal signal for changing the channel. Because, man, MASH was on syndication like every night on Fox at like 9 o'clock. And it was just always on. But MASH is definitely a show for our parents, and definitely not anybody younger than us. But yeah, that's a solid. Honorable mentions for movies. Let's see what I had here. I had a couple. And of course, if you have any of yourself that you want to share, by all means. I had, I even had like Chicago Hope, Chicago Med. Those are
I haven't seen any of those.
I haven't watched them either. But I remember Chicago Hope being the CBS semi-equivalent to ER. Like, it came out around that same time. Yeah. But Halloween 2 is a great horror movie that's pretty much entirely in the hospital. That was pretty creepy. Malice is a movie with Alec Baldwin and Nicole Kidman, and it is so crazy. Alec Baldwin plays a surgeon. You don't really know if he's on the up and up. I highly recommend Malice. It's so good. Awakenings, we mentioned Robin Williams. Awakenings was a great movie with Robert De Niro where he experiments on Robert De Niro because he was a mentally handicapped man, and he found this like breakthrough process to help him like gain intelligence. Yeah, so Awakenings, and then Article 99, which is a movie with Ray Liotta, Kiefer Sutherland. That was a good doctor drama. Oh, Dr. Giggles, a nice family film, with a insane doctor. That's always a good up-rousing hit. But aside from Dr. Giggles, I'll just go ahead and name my number one hospital-themed movie, and that is the classic One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, starring Jack Nicholson. This movie is set in a mental hospital, which still counts as a hospital. It's kind of like, it was a stage play, and Milos Forman directed this film. And this was one of the first movies, I think it was actually the first movie to have a clean sweep of the Oscars. It had Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director. I mean, it did the clean sweep of the Oscars. And it's a great movie. Jack Nicholson stars Randall P. McMurphy, a man who is committed to this mental institution for reasons that I can't describe because it's spoiler territory. And I want you to go see this movie. It's a classic. It's a classic film. It was a great stage play. I love the stage play of it. But of course, Jack Nicholson, he's the best. And what's her name? Nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher, is one of the most villainous characters of all time. Like, she's just completely awful. And she's worse than Dr. Giggles, if I'm being
Being
accurate.
honest.
But you know what, Chris, before I talk a little bit more about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think all Randall P. McMurphy, all he had to do was just call BetterHelp. I think by calling BetterHelp, or not calling BetterHelp, I mean, he would have had to call BetterHelp back in the 70s because they didn't have the internet. But if Randall P. McMurphy was alive today, he would definitely go to BetterHelp.com/ScreenAddicts to get 10% off of his first month. And subscribing to BetterHelp, you can call, text, or have a voice chat with a doctor of your choosing. You can have preferences and anything like that. So that's a great offer for anybody, including Randall P. McMurphy, but any of our listeners. If you're going through something, which, we all go through stuff.
We all do.
Some may be serious, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and some may just be having a bad day. But either way, you can all go to BetterHelp.com, find a doctor of your choosing, and it actually allows you to choose the type of severity you have. Like if it's something that you really need some help with, or if it's something that you just want to have a casual conversation, somebody to talk to about an issue that you're having, no matter how severe, no matter how bad the situation can be, just go to BetterHelp.com/ScreenAddicts for 10% off.
And let me tell you, you are not going to get the Screen Addicts to help you. We're not in that field. Don't want our medical advice. You do want our movie and TV advice, but medical advice, let the professionals handle it at BetterHelp.com. And like Steven said, /Screen Addicts at the end of that, and you can get some discounts. And money in the pocket is always great for that mental health as well.
That's for sure. That'll make you feel better right away. But yeah, so back on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, highly respectable film, one that you definitely should watch. It's funny because in, 1998, 99, they made Girl Interrupted with Winona Ryder and Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
That was basically like the female version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which that's actually a good movie too. I think that movie holds up pretty well. And I was thinking, they should make other movies with like an all-female cast. I think we've done that topic too when the Ghostbusters came out. That's hilarious. But yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, number 1.
All right, so my number 1, it's going to be no surprise to anybody because this show is on its 20th season.
Good Lord.
20th season. And the fun fact, it just passed on March 27th, not too long ago, is when March 27th, 2005, is when Grey's Anatomy first aired. And let me tell you, people, this show, for the first, I would say 6-7 seasons, was amazing. It could not miss. There was everything that was good about it. There was some funny moments, the drama, the medical stuff in there. Apparently everybody became doctors after watching this show for the first couple seasons, because there's not one friend that'd be like, hey, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I just finished Grey's Anatomy, but I could do this open brain surgery on you, no problem.
That seems easy.
Right? But man, 20 seasons, dude. 20 seasons. It is insane. I can't believe that show has gone on this long. If you ask anybody, really, the show probably should have ended 4 seasons ago.
Damn. Or when Meredith Grey actually left.
Which is this past season.
Oh, okay.
She's been on there for a while, and she's been the main character for almost 19, 20 seasons. Let me tell you, the writers on this I think it's Shonda Rhimes that has been the writer for this show, and the way that she's able to bring in new characters and keep the show flowing is just amazing. It's, we've talked about sometimes, like when you recast a show and have different people come in, it's hard for it to keep going. But this one has done a pretty damn good job of bringing in new people and then you following their stories. I think that's why it's lasted so long, is because they're able to kill off some of the old characters, but keep going with new ones. And, there's some deaths in this show that were just freaking heartbreaking, and like you couldn't believe them sometimes. And you're like, why did they do that? It just plays on and it keeps going. And I don't know when they have if they have a time when this shows are going to end. I think it needs to wrap up already. It's been long enough.
I can't imagine without the lead of the show being on it, it's going to take too much more time to do that. And it's kind of funny because, you have some shows where the lead character has left and you've tried to work your way around that. But her name is in the title of the
Yep.
show. Like, when the show is named after you and you leave, then what is the show? And I know they've tried doing some spin-offs. What was that one? Like Private Practice with Walsh, like
Yep.
Kate Walsh. And did you watch that one? Was that any good?
I watched a little bit of it. It was okay. They tried to play too much off of the Grace thing to me.
Yeah.
But it was okay. It wasn't horrible, but like you said, it's hard to replace the main, and which they've kind of done it okay, because yes, the show at first was named after Meredith Grey, but here in the last 5 seasons, they've actually renamed the hospital. It used to be Seattle Grace. It is now Gray Sloan Memorial. So the name can stay
play
with
into the
hospital.
actual hospital. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually perfect for this episode. Is that it's named after the hospital? That
Right.
works out. What would you do if Katherine Heigl comes back? Is that a possibility, or did she die?
No, her and another character finally moved off and rode off into the sunset.
I remember all that drama going on with Katherine Heigl and Shonda Rhimes about just how difficult she was to work with and this and that. And I mean, I guess that's why they wrote her off the show to begin with. But yeah, how funny if she came back.
She did come back.
Oh, she did? When did she come back?
Well, I think it was like 2 or 3 seasons ago. She came back. It was only a couple episodes, but it let her wrap up her story. I mean, they let her wrap up the story with her and the love interest, Alex Karev. Like, it wrapped them up good. So it was everybody in there.
But that was a long time ago, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Like, when she first left the show, I would say it was probably season 8, 9.
Oh, I meant something like more recent. Like she came in like a year or 2 ago. I mean, like finished the show out or something like that.
2 or 3 years ago. I think it was during like COVID shit.
Oh, so she did. Okay. I was man, I don't know. I don't watch the show. So I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about.
You have 20 seasons to catch up on. Hurry up, man.
That's definitely one that I will not ever go. I'm not ever going to watch at this point. If I didn't watch it then and just kept with it, there's no way, man. 20 episodes, and there's like 20 episode seasons, right? Yeah, no, forget it. Never gonna happen. Never going to happen.
It'll be like
you never know.
X-Files.
It would take me another 20 years to finish it, man. But that's pretty good. But yeah, that's a solid. I mean, that's a fan favorite show. It's been on for 20 years for a reason. Like, it's a very beloved show. Fans love that show, and it set the test of time. I mean, how many other ABC dramas have lasted 20 years? I mean, you can't really say too many.
I mean, the only ones that you can really count that have stayed on the air that long are your soap operas and The Simpsons.
General Hospital. That's another
General
one.
Hospital.
But yeah, it sounds good, Chris. I guess we're done and ready to close up the hospital ourselves and just.
All right, as we go, we're going to turn off the lights, mop the floors, sterilize all of our equipment. But before you do all that, since you are here listening to the Screen Addicts podcast, go ahead, hit subscribe on whatever you're listening to, whether it's your phone or laptop, and then wherever you're listening to us at, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, hit subscribe so you know when the new episodes are dropping. So we are dropping 2 a week now. The main episode, the main topic earlier in the week, and then we do a mini episode towards the end of the week so we can tell you what we've been watching and all that. So make sure to hit subscribe so you know when those are dropping. And then also, if you're in the social media world, go ahead and give us a follow on all of those. Just look up the Screen Addicts podcast. You were bound to find us. Also, TikTok is brand new to us. Steven is dropping some really cool movie reviews, TV reviews, and those are really fun, quick watches as well. Give you some insight on a movie you may be wanting to go watch, and Steven's going to tip the scale for you. But search the Screen Addicts podcast on TikTok as well. And then, guys, if you ever have any suggestions, comments, questions for us that you would like us to read on air, go ahead and give us an email. It's at screenaddictspodcast@gmail.com. We'll read all the questions out loud, and man, definitely take any topic suggestions into consideration as well. But man, I guess that is it for us tonight. Steven, anything else?
No, man, that's it. I hope my doctor's appointment goes well tomorrow. And
same, brother. I hope you find Forrest Whitaker's doctors and they get you fixed up, my friend.
Thanks. Otherwise, we're going to have a podcast of our favorite patched-eyed characters.
That's perfect. Well, guys, for me, good night.
Adios, amigos.
Thank you for listening to the Screen Addicts podcast.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/screenaddicts. That's betterhelp.com/screenaddicts.
Breaking news. Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, they are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with a brand new beard hedger. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the beard hedger allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code SCREENADDICTS for 20% off and free shipping.